It is the year 2472, and the Earth has suffered a great calamity. Hundreds of years of popular culture have vanished. Without the sacred films and texts for guidance, civilization is devoid of anything cool. Then, 3 incubation chambers are unearthed, and from within, men from the time of the great blockbusters emerge. Now, through highly interesting conversations, they share invaluable insight about what once was. The movies, the shows, the comics, toys, and books. This is the Hyperspace
Podcasting in the 25th century.
Welcome in, podcast pioneers, to the Hyperspace Podcasting in the 25th century, the InterWeb's first and only podcast. My name's Matt.
I'm Jared.
And I am Mike.
Whew, season 1.
It's in the books. Yeah.
Been busy.
You know, how long ago did we start talking about doing a podcast? It's been a while.
Yeah.
I think it was the end of last year, wasn't it?
It was close to it, yeah.
Well, me and Matt have talked about it for a long
Couple years
time.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, we need to do this.
We should invent this, we keep saying.
I just remember I sent Jared a text about it, and he's like, yeah, me and Matt been talking about it, and like 2 weeks later, you had like bought the links and started the corporation, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, it's been a fun season 1. I'm really, really glad we've done this. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think, a weekly, it's kind of, it's something I look forward to doing because it's like, I'm going to get to talk to 2 of my friends about, cool, nerdy stuff.
Throwing the term friend around a little loosely there, aren't we? A little free with it, aren't we?
At least one of my friends and another grouch.
No, but it's been fun because for all you listening, all 3 of us are in different locations. I'm up in New York, and Jared's in Florida, and Mike's in Tennessee. So this is a fun way that we get together and chat about the stuff that we like, and we hope that you guys like it too. And obviously from the response, it's overwhelming. But
overwhelming, yeah.
Since this is our season 1 wrap-up, I was just curious, what are some of your favorite episodes that we've done so far?
I can think of some of my favorite moments.
Oh, okay.
And, well, I can think of 2 of my favorite moments right now, and they both involve Mike losing control of himself.
All right.
With his story about his first car.
Yeah, that was funny.
How the
stuffing.
How the stuffing was coming out of the ceiling.
The headliner and stuff.
Yes, and it would be covering everyone when they take a ride with him. And man, you know what? I'm gonna I may play a clip of that. So I think I'm gonna find a clip of Mike losing his mind on that.
My car was my grandmother's car.
Did you share it with your grandmother?
Yes. And that was
You did?
Yeah, she's a very social person. She went out on weekends. No, that's not true at all. She lived in Pennsylvania, and my dad drove up to get her car and to bring it back. It was a 1978 Pontiac Grand Le Mans. And that was back when gas was still reasonably priced.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad attached a hitch to it because he used it to pull his fishing boat. And he took the bumper covering off. And when he mounted the hitch on, he didn't put the cover back on. So it was just the bare bumper. But also, I was notorious for locking my keys in my car. So I kept a coat hanger in that bumper so that I could get to it whenever I locked my keys in my car.
Did your friends know about this trick too?
Probably. But also, I had another friend who gave the car a nickname because of its size and age, and it was nicknamed the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, of course. What was the color?
It was gold.
Gold.
Oh, gold.
Yeah, and the upholstery on the ceiling.
The headliner, yeah.
It was all rotting out, so it hung
Yes.
low. But so my parents took some pins, multicolored pins, and pinned it back to the ceiling, but it's still like I don't guess the air conditioning worked because we had to drive with the windows down. So all that fuzz would fly around the car, and you would know. I remember getting out. of the car. And my friend had fuzz all in his hair. So anyway. So that's what happened when you rode with me. You had fuzz in your hair. Anyway. So that was my first car.
Sounds like it sounds like you're crying.
I don't know why I got so tickled over that, but anyway, yeah. So people would get out of my car and they'd have like little fuzz in their, all over in their hair. So anyway, but I was like I was one of the first people to have his own car, so people got stuck riding with me.
And the other one was when Mike told the story about his first job.
Burger King.
Yes.
That was actually my favorite.
Yeah, that is, man, Mike, it doesn't matter what's going on. If I listen to that clip, it just makes me laugh. I could have had like the worst day ever, and I play that, and you can't help but, I mean, people who don't even know Mike or even know what we're doing, they just listen to that and crack up.
Because Mike, he's not, he gets it. His voice gets high, and he can't talk.
So
I feel bad because I never really had any more good follow-ups to those two.
Well, that's okay. I mean, I think
those were the two highlights of my entire life.
No, those are some of my favorite moments, and I think my favorite. Some of my favorite stuff has been the TOSCHE Station Diaries. Talking about Star Wars is fun for all of us, I think. And of course, over the last probably month and a half, you guys have been getting a lot of Star Wars. Now, we're not a Star Wars podcast per se, but we are gonna start switching it up a little bit as we move into season 2.
To be fair, there's been a lot of Star Wars happening, so.
Yes. I mean, with the Carbonite Chronicles, and that's something that we're obviously going to be continuing as season 2 of The Mandalorian is released. But yeah, thanks. If you're not a Star Wars fan, well, I'm not sure why you're listening to this show, but you have been very kind in your words about the Star Wars stuff that we've been doing over the past month or so. So I appreciate that.
I think it's fair to say that it could be considered our life's work.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, goodness. But yeah, I think TOSCHE Station is a highlight, and sitting down to record the first episode, which of course was another Star Wars episode, was pretty thrilling. It's been a learning process.
Yeah, well, I think that having said that, I don't know if we said this while we were recording, but the first episode we aired was the second time we recorded that episode. Because the first time we tried to do it when I was in Florida on vacation, and I had not correctly inputted. I didn't select the correct input for my microphone.
Yes. And we
it was a whole rigmarole trying to get that coordinated with my family, and we never even used it.
Yeah, and for people who've asked, and some people have asked, like how we do this, we use a program that allows us to speak in real time to each other, kind of like Skype, but not Skype.
And it kind of sucks.
Yeah, we're not going to name it, but so that's how and then we record our
Hyperspace
our own,
brought to you by.
We record our own individual tracks onto our own laptops, so and then combine them all later. But when Mike was recording, we could only hear what he sounded like through this program, and he sounded fine. But locally, he was recording through his laptop mic, and it sounded like he was outside in a hurricane. He's like,
I just like stuff. Yeah. It's really great. It's like, But when he was doing the show with us, it sounded just like this. Very clear, very clean. And he's like, I don't know what happened. It's really bad. So we had to record our Phantom Menace 20-year anniversary episode twice. But hey, I'm hogging a lot of mic time here. What are your favorite stuff, guys?
Also, another little back behind the scenes secret. Our Rogue One segment, we recorded twiise.
Oh yeah, we did.
The first time we did it, it was a
true.
disaster.
That's true. It's not always smooth sailing in the seas of the hyperspace.
Oh man, and trust me, the follow-up was like way better.
The good news is that we keep all this crap, and
Yeah,
Some of it,
someday we'll put it together.
some of it, we can actually let you hear.
jeez. Well, if we want to keep our general audience rating, we better.
And if I do say, there are some very funny fart outtakes.
God. Should I let him in on that secret?
Well, Mike likes
tries
to he likes to insert those as surprises for people who are editing the episodes.
He tries to work one in every podcast.
Yeah. And so you'll be like listening closely to the isolated tracks, and you didn't hear this during the recording, but he'll be like, yeah, you know what I really like is the...
Well, he'll wait till you're in mid-conversation and work it in, so you don't hear it when you're talking, and then you just hear it in the... Or Mike's dogs come in and take over the room.
I know. And we literally have to stop and go, what the hell is happening over there?
And by the way, this is a good opportunity. This is the end of the season. We are considering putting up a GoFundMe page for Mike to buy a chair that doesn't squeak as well. So look for that on our social media.
Many times Mike records, and I always thought this was questionable. He records in his living room, right in the middle of everything. Me and Matt are secluded away in rooms with doors closed.
It's
Mike's
all I
sitting
got,
in his
man.
living room, and you hear
Everyone
like
else is upstairs.
With like
You
an
hear his-
antique like desk chair.
You hear his wife come down to get food or something in the kitchen, and we're like, "What is that?" She's getting a snack. And the dogs, they keep running in and out.
Oh, the
But there's a
doggy
lot
door.
There's a lot of audio. Yeah. Trust me, guys. There's a lot of audio trickery that goes into these episodes to make them listenable.
Well, I'm up in my son's room now, which may become my new room because my sons each have their own room, but they both sleep in the same bed. So his room is almost unused, other than for him to change in, which is you heard that earlier before we started recording.
Okay.
And so,
Well, so
and I'm not
we
even
may have-
sitting in a chair. I'm sitting on the floor with my back
Well, at least it's not
against his
squeaking,
bed.
so it's fine.
Yeah, the floor doesn't squeak, so it's very quiet actually. But anyway, yeah. What are some of your guys' favorite stuff from this past season?
Two episodes that come to mind, which in retrospect is funny that I'm choosing one, but believe it or not, Zardoz, I got a big kick out of. We got together and we're like, let's get together and do our retroactive rewind review of movies that we've never seen and movies we've always kind of knew about but never got a chance to watch, except Mike, who's apparently seen all these. And we're like, man, what's a movie we should start off and kick this off with? And we're like, you know what? What's going on with Sean Connery in this outfit? And we're like, let's do that movie. And it was awful. It was terrible. It was awful. But, watching it, it's so bad that I kind of started to actually like it in thinking back on it. And doing the edit was really funny because once you start to pick it apart and you start to listen to just little bits of it, man, it's amazing. It's so bad that it's actually great. And I actually got a big kick out of Zardoz. Didn't even listen to it. Go back and listen to Zardoz.
Yeah, Zardoz was the first episode I was really concerned about. And we usually, sometimes Matt will if Matt really feels strongly about something, he'll edit the episode. And I was happy to hand that off because after recording that, I just had no idea how it was going to turn out. And that episode, I mean, I've had friends come to me. My friend Brian was like, I had a dream about Zardoz based on your podcast, and I'd never even seen it. And I was like, well, your dream was probably better than the movie. So, and a couple of people at work were like, man, that Zardoz episode was really funny. And
yeah, it was a fun one. It turned out to be fun. When we were recording it or watching the movie, I'm like, I can't believe we're watching this garbage. But it wasn't as bad. But the second one that comes to mind, believe it or not, was the horror episode. And the reason why, speaking of funny stories, was I keep thinking back to Jared telling the story about when he watched Friday the 13th for the first time.
Yeah, as an elementary
and he was
school
like, like 8 years old or 9 years old?
Yeah. With my friend from elementary school with his mom sitting
With
there.
his mom.
Like you're watching Sesame Street, but not Sesame Street.
With gratuitous nudity and violence. That must have been awkward.
Yeah, it was. It was terrible.
The horror episode I liked a lot. I had a good time with that one, too.
What about you, Mike?
Well, the thing about me is I have such a bad memory that I start to, like, things fade fast.
Well, you're older than us. So
like we'll be you guys will be talking about an episode, and I'll be like, "Oh, did we do that one?"
Oh,
I
man.
completely forgot.
It's a good thing they're all recorded.
One day I look forward to listening to them all for the first time.
Did I do a podcast?
So Mike, here's a question for you. Do you actually listen to the podcast?
Yes.
No, you don't.
I
You
do.
liar.
A lot of the time.
Come on.
It's just one of those things. Like, I've always been that way. Anytime I make something, or like if I made a short movie or something, I do it, and then I just kind of move on. It's just one of those.
Start doing like the memento thing and start tattooing in your arm.
Anyway, but to answer your question, the one that really sticks out, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I think it's probably the most interesting because of what happened around it, is the Kiss one, because nobody liked that movie. I don't think anybody enjoyed recording it. I don't think anybody enjoyed.
I didn't even really like editing that.
Editing it, and I don't think anybody listened to it. I think we had like one person say something. I mean, it was my idea too, and I don't know. And it was like that was the one time I watched that movie where I kind of like started to like appreciate it a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, this movie is like an accident. This is like something you couldn't try to do. You could not try to make this. This is special. But what's funny about that is I have since, and I don't like Kiss, I don't like their music, but the band themselves fascinates me, their story. And I've been watching tons of YouTube videos about Kiss since we've done that episode. I'm like an expert on Kiss, and I hate their music.
Well, it's funny because since we did that episode, I'm actually glad we're having this conversation, because if you listen to the Kiss episode, you never would ever guess. But since that episode, I've become kind of fascinated with Ace Frehley.
Yeah, me too.
I've watched a lot because of Mike. I've watched some stuff on him, and I actually really like the guy. I think he's really an interesting guy. So I've done a little bit of a 180 myself. So I'm glad Mikey brought that up.
I listened to the episode once and have never listened to it again. And I'm happy to have it in the past.
So anyway, it's kind of like, yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I found this Ace Frehley interview and I forwarded it to you guys, and Matt was like, "Hey, that's actually a pretty interesting interview."
It was a great interview, actually.
And I just kept on scrolling.
And then as far as, I think my favorite episodes are the ones where, I don't know, I think when we set out to do this, we kind of agreed that we didn't want to be like, we didn't want to like gush over stuff, but we didn't want to be like super negative about stuff either. And I think the episodes I enjoy is the stuff I enjoy is when we can talk about stuff we like, but we can talk about the problems with it, but without being like mean about it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think we're
without crapping all
we're
over
we're not mean about stuff. Even like The Last Jedi. Well, you're probably a little mean on that one. But I mean, I think those are like, I thought our discussion on Rise of Skywalker was really like probably one of our better ones, because I think we had a lot of energy, and we kind of like picked at it and were theorizing about what stuff meant and the stuff that was affected us emotionally.
I think we were all in a great mood because it's a great Star Wars movie.
I think when we do a couple of the list shows, I think we kind of have that same energy, like. Mm-hmm. And also, whenever we can kind of go off track a little bit and then reel it back in, I think it's just when we have those it's like us talking. It's like when we're just talking normal, and those are the episodes that I enjoy.
Yeah. And I've had people say that the mutual friends that we have who know all of us, they say, this is just like the old days listening to you guys talk at work. Just
we all spent years together on headset doing what we did in TV. So this is kind of a fun way to get back in that discussion. But listen, hey, I've had a great time in season 1. But I gotta tell you, in just a couple months,
have we been renewed? Have we heard yet?
Oh yeah, we've been renewed.
Well, there's no one. We're the only one out there, so
yeah.
I think we're guaranteed a slot.
Yeah, and the people of the 25th century.
Well, I just bought a new boat, so I hope I didn't waste that money. I know we got canceled.
No, but season 2 promises some amazing things. We're gonna have some great guests. We're gonna try and do a few live streams for you. There'll be some giveaways and some great opportunities to work you, the fans, in. So stay tuned. We'll be feeding you some information between now and then. In just a few short months, we're going to be kicking off our second season.
What I'd like to take a moment to ask people to, whatever podcatcher or podcast app that you listen to us on, if it allows you to give reviews, please take a few seconds and just give us a review. Because that really helps other people find the show. And it doesn't really require you to do anything else but review it, but that helps push us out there to other people. And obviously, please continue to share the show, tell other people about it, but we'd really love some more people to review the show, because we love getting that feedback.
But only good stuff. Keep the bad stuff to yourself.
We're going to put up on Facebook a little page where if you have anything that you think that we should be talking about, you want to hear a podcast on, leave a comment. And we're going to start looking at all this stuff and making a list on great shows that we're going to do for season 2. So stay tuned, everybody. The 25th century is not going anywhere.
Should I continue recording in the nude? Is that something that you'd like, or should I put a sock on?
I mentioned those live streams, remember?
Yeah, the live streams. I don't. Oh, man. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, we'll let you know if that's going to happen. Jeez. But yes, thanks for everyone who listens, for your kind words, and for listening to the show and sticking with us. It only gets better from here.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back in the 25th century, bringing you along with us. Stay tuned. Season 2 coming up soon.
You know you can't live without this content, so subscribe to The Hyperspace, podcasting in the 25th century. Follow us on social media, leave us a review, and join us here next time as we take you into the 25th century.